Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Sunless Skies, where we are going to head over to Caduceus real quick, but I am less confident now than I once was about the idea that we'll be able to get a lot done there, because I did not realize that we had no sources of Bohemian affiliation on the ship. I really don't know where to go to find more, but Caduceus is definitely one of those areas where I feel like we left a lot of stuff undone. I don't think we know almost nothing about it, right? So I might even go so far as to look up ways to acquire more Bohemian affiliation. I have mostly resisted looking things up, aside from a few tidbits of lore here and there. But we're coming close to the end of this thing, and I don't want to leave stones unturned. I really thought we were going to be able to get through here somewhere, but apparently this is a big solid rock. That's the worst kind of rock. Alright, so we'll fly around to Caduceus, and we'll pick up our port report, and that will be enough to at least get us in the door with the revolutionaries. Hey, that's just bronzewood. Are there bronzewood trees out here? I guess they used a lot of wood to build Langley Hall. We haven't seen any whole trees, I don't think, but maybe somebody trucked in a bunch of whole trees for building that? Wait, did they build Langley Hall, or did they find it? Because it's infinite, right? Or at least it's large enough as to be effectively infinite. Yeah, alright, let's turn and go see what that is. How would you build something like that? Or maybe, I can't remember, I feel like we did hear a story about it being built at some point. Maybe they started building it and then discovered that they had accidentally built something that that was infinite. Basically, they built a normal amount of house, but then it turned out there was way more house there than they had built. I don't remember. At this point, this series has been going on so long, and like way longer than I had imagined it would. There's a lot of things that we have read that I have forgotten. Oh, there's probably a lot of things that we read that I forgot about, that we then read again later, and I have already forgotten about for a second time. We're entering the Grave of Roses. Pillars loom in the sky. So I'm sitting in my recording studio, which is to say my living room, completely in the dark here, because I'm recording in the middle of the night because I ran out of time to record earlier today, and sometimes these episodes take a while to put together. The Rep Brigade argues over how to pronounce Caduceus. None of them get it right. By the way, I don't know if I'm getting it right. It might be you're supposed to say Caduceus. I definitely tend towards separating letter sounds, sometimes when that is not appropriate to do. But I'm noticing here, in the dark, with just my computer monitor shining down on them, that my hands I have hands of night, is maybe the way the game would put it, which is to say, there's glitter on my hands that I thought I had washed off, but apparently I did not get it all. A temple at the top of a mountain reached by a long pilgrim road. We have been here, we just didn't see anything of value. The winding hillside paths are meandering and willful. A wind picks up, carrying a scent of honey and a soothing sibilance. It blows from the caves. This is the... You know what? I don't think I've developed, like, an internal term for it. But every time you go to a port that you haven't been to in a little while, and I have no idea what that period of time is, it's probably like a couple of weeks, you have an opportunity to do a little bonus thing, and then you have to be away from the port for a couple of days, and then it reappears, like the event at Port Avon that lets us buy cheap fuel. I don't have a name for that thing in my head, but I think this is one of those things. Let us explore the dark side of Caduceus. Citizen Shore has got to get used to the dark sides of things. Our fellow here is too soft for the task they have undertaken. That's got to get corrected. Ruins litter this side of Caduceus, though their purpose has been lost to time. Columns stand proud amongst ancient rubble. Ancient frames hold broken mirrors. But the wind is warm and lazy, unlike the harried, anguish gusts of the sky. You know, actually, I hadn't really thought about it, but probably that experience with the crewman whose sins were written across their flesh and who was lit from the inside with the blue flames probably shook Citizen Shore pretty badly, right? Because that was a moment when, like, they had an opportunity to display some toughness, and they failed and cowered. And that's got to weigh on you. That's got to be on the citizen's mind. So maybe we are going to take some actions here that are intended to be hardening. We gotta toughen up if we're gonna save the universe. We still also have to figure out exactly how we're going to save the universe. We are led by our heart, but at some point our brain has to catch up or we're all gonna die out here. Alright, the place of the rose. First of all, we have to investigate the temple, I think, in order to get our port report. Maybe not? How do we... Okay, hold on. We're going to read through a bunch of this text, even though I know we've read through it before, because I don't remember almost anything about this place. So, when we investigate the temple, marble statues of devils line the aisles. They have wreaths over their horns. Their lips are daubed scarlet as sin. Their eyes are the colors of ash and sunlight. The detail is breathtaking. Their lyres and lutes, flutes and fiddles, drums and dulcimers are so perfectly carved that, but for the material, they could be real. Frescoes depict a troupe of musicians marching toward a slender mirror. Pipers, flautists, drummers all. Statues of serpents coil over the musicians. I did not say the comma between drummers and all, which makes it sound like the pipers and the flautists were also drummers, but that's not what is written here. Thorn bushes, bereft of roses, encircle the chamber. The plants are tended by devils in crimson masks. There are a lot of devils here. These devils are the rose-binders of Caduceus. Within the space bounded by the bushes, the Bohemians make their art, all of it, on the subject of roses. It's probably okay to refresh this stuff for you guys, too, because I think even in the worst-case scenario, where somebody's just watching the series straight through, it's even for that person, it's probably been like 20 hours at least since we saw any of this. Okay, let's talk to the Thorn Maiden, which is her, I'm assuming. Her crown is thorned, her stave coiled with snakes. Her eyes are quiet as an ox's. As you approach, she raises a hand bedecked with rings of white sapphires. Whether she is bidding you approach or refrain is unclear. I will say that in the art, her crown is not thorned. Although, you know, those are supposed to look like leaves, right? But I guess if they're made of metal, they probably function very similarly to thorns. The Thorn Maiden considers you, then approximates a smile. Her fingers still tap against the marble arm of her throne, in time with the drum from below. "How may I serve?" she asks. Her voice resonates like beaten bronze. Okay, so... we would have to know more about what's going on here to even ask about the rose rites. Yes, let's just ask some general questions, because I need a refresher. Her voice is without any affect. The intonation is hollow. I found Caduceus not long after I arrived in Eleutheria. I was frustrated with the methodologies of Winter's Reside. Where was the poetry? Where the beauty in all the horror? Her fingertips dance as she speaks. The devils were here before me. They were wearing those masks when I arrived. This temple was once something else, something important to them. They reclaimed it, though for a new purpose. She trails off, having lost interest in your inquiry. Honestly, I think a lot of things about this place probably speak to Citizen Shore. I think we're going to find that the citizen here is also frustrated by the methods of Winter's Reside and the lack of poetry in them. Hey, how you doing there? You look bored. Her eyes widen. Is it obvious? Her tone doesn't change. The waiting between rites becomes more intolerable. All these people, she gestures, her bracelets are set jangling, venerating me, but all they care for are the roses. I am a link in the chain, not the pearl in the crown. She sighs and looks away. Okay, well, we can't do anything else useful here. Descend to the caverns. Maybe this is where we read our report. Beneath the temple, the mountain on which Caduceus rests is tunneled through with caves. A drumbeat, slow but steady, sounds from below. Underneath the dome of Caduceus is a warren of caverns, a labyrinth of caves, walled with slabs of volcanic black glass burrow their way through the rock. Steady drumbeat thrums through the walls, echoing from somewhere deeper. Did we ever figure out where? I don't know, whatever. Two rosebinders, a devil and a deviless, wait in the main cavern, their eyes like coals in the dark. The deviless beckons you to follow her. Which we do, because we're very stupid. You are led down darkly gleaming passages, heading deeper under the main temple of Caduceus. The devil walks at your side. He occasionally uses his thyrsus to strike the ground, as if testing the depth of your descent. You emerge into a cavern lit by moonish light pouring through a crack in the roof. A broken temple stands before a pool of dark water. The The Deviless bids you to kneel by the pool and drink. This really does not seem familiar to me at all. We did see this before, right? The water is clear, reflecting only the pale rays of light and the thorned masks of the rosebinders. As you kneel, the Deviless places a red cloth around your eyes. The devil touches your forehead with the thyrsus as he pushes you toward the water. You feel the water lapping against your chin, your mouth, your tongue. It tastes rich as wine, velvet, smooth and wild. The drumbeat here, with your ear pressed against the rock, is louder. It grows louder still, insistent and incessant. The cavern vibrates with it. And the Deviless pulls you from the water. The drummer deems you worthy, she smiles, bright as a new moon. You may participate in the mysteries of our arboretum. You have been admitted. Okay, cool. That's probably going to make it easier to write a port report, right? At some point we're going to get to this. Alright, well, I guess let's just follow the horrifying drum sound. Sound is steady, like the pulsing of a heart, which I'm sure it definitely isn't. Following the sound leads you in what feels like circles. You travel between cave after cave, the tunnels narrowing like a throat as you go deeper. The drums sound on, a steady funerary beat. You are forced to cleave to a wall, slick with dripping condensation, for the tunnel here has the width of a wicked king's spine. That I think I remember. As you do, the drums cease for a moment, and you hear a sound like a finger tapping on glass. That I definitely remember. When you emerge from the thin cave, you find yourself in the large, wide cavern where you began. Somehow. So yeah, there's something going on here. We are on one side of a thing. There's something on the other side. I assume when we click this again, we're just going to get that same text. Yep. Is it really the case that I can't write a port report here at all? No, okay, I can. I had to be initiated a little bit. Interesting. You unlock this by not having any lightless or cold. Lightless is a condition of the soul, isn't it? Would anyone take an interest in this languorous idol? There are said to be mysteries to Caduceus. Yeah, I think that there are. It seems like there are. An isolated temple approached by a winding pilgrim road. Roses fall about the ruins on the temple approach, but none within the temple walls. Here, devils in rose masks tend flowerless shrubs. Poets and musicians write rhapsodies on roses that never appear. A woman known as the Thorn Maiden presides over it all, while in the caverns below the temple drums sound in the dark. Poets whisper to you of rites performed by the Thorn Maiden, of sunlight somehow brought into Eleutheria, of revels done when the roses fall. Yeah, actually, it would probably be pretty hard for roses to grow without light, huh? Some do. I mean, we can see roses on the exterior walls, and they have to in order to fall around the ruins. But how is it that they're growing? I don't think I put that together the first time we were here. To be fair, we hadn't... this is east of the well. We hadn't encountered the well yet, so we didn't really know about the whole state of the place. So we could participate in the rite of the forge if we had one more moment of inspiration. We could talk to the ebullient decadent if we had one more affiliation Bohemia. I remembered that we needed 3 for something here. Well, we can certainly go find another moment of inspiration. We can fly around until we find a griever or something. Let's start here. Visitors come and go from Caduceus, but all are generally of a similar temperament. A Lausch youth... Lausch? Words that I've never had to say out loud before, except probably last time we did this. Okay, Louche, yeah. A Louche youth with acres of golden hair invites you to his little company. They sit before the throne, painting roses onto each other's bodies. We definitely read this text before. I probably looked it up then, too, huh? A rose, black as the liberation, blooms on his white chest. A pair of twins have daubed a pattern of roses linked like chains. It begins on the right of her neck and ends on the nail of his smallest left toe. An elderly poet, his mustaches ringed with roses, explains that they are merely passing the time. We are somewhat listless between the rites, he explains, when the sunlight pours through and we may taste the rose. So, during the rites, there is sunlight, or there's something approximating sunlight. Yeah, man, last time we were here, we would not have understood why that was so weird. Uh, well, I suspect we're not going to have any new options when speaking to the Thorn Maiden. We need a little bit more information before we can talk to her about the Rite of the Rose. I mean, we got the port report, which is what we really came here for. Corinthian columns line the processional, though their capitals bear budding roses rather than acanthus leaves. Devils, unmasked, recur on the frescoes. Only the wall behind the throne has been left without adornment. The temple contains a multitude of shrines, scattered throughout the complex like links on a chain. Each holds a reliquary to a single figure. One is to the fiddler, another to the piper, a third to the drummer, the chorister, and the violist. The rosebinders treat these shrines with a reverence that borders on fear. It can be hard to tell the difference. Okay, yeah, I guess we're good here. Do they have anything interesting for sale? I don't have any money. Never mind. Yeah, I guess let's head back to Pan. But we're gonna figure out... That was a little non-ideal. We're just gonna head back to Pan, I guess. Do I want to go to Aklis first? It's not really that far out of the way, and we could use the terror reset. Yeah, we're at 22. That's probably, if not high enough for problems to start, at least close to high enough for problems to start. Also, it looks like the route hasn't actually been explored all that well. I think we can see a little bit of open space here, so I'm guessing there is a path. May as well grab ourselves an extra port report. Turns out we're having a little bit of a liquidity crisis, so the extra 100 sovereigns would actually be pretty useful. And we're certainly not short supplies. May as well also send out the cabbie. What level are we right now? 17. We have a couple more level ups coming. Okay, cool. Right in our path. And also, I accidentally fired the weapon while trying to click out of the chart. Let's hope that this is not... Okay, it's just a rock full of ours. I'll be honest with you, for a moment, as it was emerging from the mist, I thought it was the biggest griever ever. Like we had encountered the king of the grievers, and I was momentarily very concerned about the feelings he might have about the way that we have treated his subjects. But no, our trip through Eleutheria has actually been weirdly simple and non-violent. Kind of making me look like a big coward for being so worried about coming here. But of course, we can't behave like Eleutheria is sentient and definitely trying to make me look like a fool. That would be paranoid. Definitely not what's happening. Okay, I don't think that we really have too much interest in exploring the plots in Aklis. I feel like we were fairly thorough here, and to be perfectly honest, it just doesn't feel like there's a lot going on here. There's the Midnight Gold plot, which we saw through to its end, or at least an end. There's probably more we could do with the weird kids on the train, but I don't know. I think we've seen what we need to see of this particular port. I do feel like we're still pretty in the dark, no pun intended, about the Empyrean, but I also don't think that we're likely to get any more information. Like, I think we've seen what there is to see. Maybe I'm wrong about that, though. So we're just here to fill in our port report, and we actually don't even have the money to hit the hookah, really. I wasn't thinking about that, and we don't have the ability to sell stuff here. We can do it once. Alright. New total, 7. Seems like maybe time to head back. I've already forgotten. Did I get the port report? This is how my brain works. In case anybody wanted to feel really good about their brain, yes, I totally got the port report. You can tell yourself, hey, at least it doesn't do what his brain does. I've had poor self-esteem for basically my entire life. It's probably better now than it has ever been. The self-effacing humor, not self-effacing. The humor, where I make fun of myself. I can't think of the term for that right now, on account of the thing with my brain. Is totally reflexive But actually, I'm kind of proud of my brain now. These days, not like right in this second where it's doing a terrible job. But yeah, for the most part, it's definitely broken and terrible in some ways, but it does some other stuff that I'm pretty pleased with. Sadly, it has all of the dumb human brain stuff, those things that human brains do naturally that are very hard to eliminate, and then it has some other foibles as well. Splintered arches and mangled masonry, a world upturned. I wonder if we're ever going to find out. I bet there's nothing even actually in the game about it, but I would love to find out a little bit more about who it is that built all this stuff with their massive, massive hands. Because Eleutheria and the Reach, we've seen a lot of things that not only are probably too big for humans to have built, but that we were then explicitly told predate humanity. This is another one of those things where I wonder if I would have some idea if I had played Fallen London. I wonder if there's any talk of precursors out in the skies, because apparently there must have been some mention of the skies, right? The gate that's at the Avid Horizon existed in Sunless Sea, I am led to believe. So there must have been some idea of where it went. Alright, what do we spy in this ruin? It turns out, a vision of the heavens. Well, that is literally true. That is absolutely a vision of the heavens. Alright, so we need to part with some garbage from our bank here. We're going to turn in 3 port reports, and then we can use 1 to just repair the locomotive. Once we're in with Winter's Reside, they'll actually do real repairs for a mystery. Alright, so let's cough these up. The hour of veracity, when the word eaters are abroad. That is a shame. I'm not a big fan of the word eaters. Well, let's try not to get our stories confiscated. An 88% chance is not 100, but it's reasonable. Yeah, okay. No brain hooks for me, not this time. Oh hey, free Eleutherian mystery, in fact. So we trade in the port reports, we get our mysteries, and then I think we immediately bail. I'm done here at the main platform for the moment. We're going to have to come back to buy fuel, obviously, but we'll do that in a moment. Alright, and let's insinuate ourselves into this group, whose aims we may be directly fighting very, very soon. You know what? That was alright. That wasn't super clean. Okay, so we go to Corncrake House. No, we don't. We go to the other thing. Out onto the street. And we accept an offer to join the revolutionaries. You are steeped in the mysteries of Eleutheria. Your knowledge is invaluable. Yeah, it's not really safe for most people to travel. I think most people cannot afford such a ridiculously ostentatious locomotive. Do them a service and they will believe your ambitions align. This will prevent us from joining the other factions, which we are 100% fine with. Thus far and no farther. You are ushered through the door of Corncrake House. There is only one door available to you, leading into the front room. A burly revolutionary blocking the hallway prevents you from going anywhere else. The room is sparsely decorated. It has shelves lined with well-read books. By the window, a woman in mourning attire sits working at a desk. There are no chairs, but the one she sits upon. The dour woman nods when you are introduced. She does not offer her own name. We have identified 3 who have been more put upon than most. They have been treated callously. She considers you carefully. If you would join us working for the Calendar Council, you must deliver these. 3 envelopes sit upon the desk. We will have to pay an Eleutherian mystery if we wanted to leave, but that's okay. We're here to play postman. We're here to do whatever we gotta do to infiltrate. The Council wishes you to play postman, so be it. Their banal tasks always conceal labyrinthine motives. She doesn't smile, but her frown softens. She passes you the first 2 envelopes. Deliver these cards first. The recipients need to know they are not alone. She gives you the 3rd one. I think this person has the resolve to last a little longer. They can wait. She returns to writing. A revolutionary enters to see you out. You've been asked to deliver Christmas cards to Polmere and Plenty's and to London. Okay, well, it looks like there's a little bit of off-camera fly-in in our future here. Is there anything else that we can do here? We should bingo with the revolutionaries, because this is just free stuff. A full crew pours from Corncrake House, making for a freshly repaired engine. They carry maps, guns, and bombs. They have wild ambitions, filled with hope and fury. In my experience, usually the latter of those two things stamps out the former. Okay, we're still not ready to negotiate for a captivating treasure, and also we don't actually need one. We can exchange Eleutherian mysteries for a vision of the heavens, which I have just absolutely no interest in doing. Was I misremembering? Is this not the place where you can exchange your... Okay, you can have your hull repaired here. We aren't in enough yet. Okay, well, I'm gonna go get us in a little bit. I'll see you in a second. Hey, on the way out, look what I found. A blind hermitage with the other half of the lost sigil. As you head for your locomotive, the hermit chases after you. You are forced to strike them to remove their clutching hands from your sleeves, from feeling at your pockets. Apparently, this one has stronger feelings about his sigil than the last one did. So what have we found here? The contrite betrayer, the softest blow, the blade's kiss, the lie that is sweeter than the truth. The pieces continue to crumble. Putty will hold them together while you make a copy. This perilous sigil was first recorded by the St. Jenkins expedition. There is no indication what event occurred that inspired them to describe it as the Castle of Lies. That is interesting. You know a little of the expedition's intended route. They left the Reach for Eleutheria. Oh, this is just hints at where to find more things. Yep, no worries about that. I got it. So here's something pretty weird. When I got to the transit relay in Eagle's Empyrean, when I entered the dock, I saw this message very briefly, and then it was overlaid with the normal relay message. And I thought, okay, that's strange, but I just went ahead and I went through the relay. And then once we got out here, obviously we're in the environs of Hybris, I decided to redock with the Hybris relay to see if there was indeed a sigil there, because we got a message saying that there would be sigils at both ends of the Eleutheria Reach relay. As far as I can tell, that's not correct, but I wanted to double check here. And when I docked, it again showed this night music thing very briefly, and then quickly overlaid it with the other message. So I undocked and put my mouse in approximately the right position, and redocked and just spam clicked, and I was able to hit investigate the music here. So we have this weird message that the game apparently was trying to hide from me, trying to just tease me with at the edge of my consciousness. You wake suddenly. Your candles have burned low, and your eyes are still heavy with sleep. You are alone in your cabin. The winds of the wilderness howl outside. You can feel the motion of the engine below you. Something isn't right. Someone is playing the violin. How dare they? I've got signs posted all over the engine. They should know better. You can hear the sounds of a jig echoing through your locomotive. How no one else is up and raising murder is beyond you. You trace the music to its source, a stoker's cabin. His bunkmate is swaddled in his blankets outside the door, holding his hands over his ears. Captain, please make him stop. Inside, you find your stoker in evening dress with a fiddle under his chin. You recognize the melody. You heard it in Langley Hall. Well, you know, he does play well. But no one should be forced from their bunk by such a racket, and I think we should try to keep the signs of Langley Hall to a minimum, lest the feeling catch on among the crew. Fiddler listens impassively to your instruction, and with some dignity, stows his instrument back in its case before stalking back to bed. His bunkmate is profusely grateful. Over the next few nights, various crew complain of hearing fiddling in various parts of the engine, but when you check, the stoker is always quietly asleep. Yeah, I knew there were going to be consequences. Alright, at this rate we're never going to make it to Polmere and Plenty's. Another interruption. The studious forged companion is explaining something complex to a signaler. So you see, they say, gesturing toward a blackboard, When all variables are taken into account, your chances of surviving your full tenure aboard this locomotive are tiny. Incensed, the signaler turns to you. "This is outrageous," they splutter. "I'm not lifting another finger until you properly compensate me for the risk I'm taking." "This is a problem," Forged Companion. So we can tell them this isn't in their contract, and I'm sure they will take their leave at the next port. Or they want 30 sovereigns? Yeah, fine, I'll pay the requested danger money. I don't really want to gain terror, is basically what I was thinking there. "I should think so, too," sniffs the signaler, pocketing the coins. "Oh," they continue, turning to the studious Forged Companion. "Thanks for the very comprehensive explanation. I'll tell the others to pay you a visit." The studious Forged Companion cleans the blackboard as if nothing had happened. Perhaps recent events were unavoidable. Hold on a moment. Obviously, I just killed a scribe spinster. Let's have a quick chat with this guy. Are you alright, man? Do you need anything? No, same text. He wants for nothing. Sure doesn't act like it. By the way, look who I found hanging out on the dock in the Empyrean. And he gives us a point of affiliation Bohemia. So, I think we got that problem solved, provided we make it back to, Aklis in one piece. Or Caduceus, rather. Mail time! It turns out neither sleet nor snow nor literally 7 scribe spinsters can keep this Christmas card from arriving on the 24th of October, so hopefully very early instead of really, really very late. The card is addressed to a Gaelic name. He is the cleaner at Polmere and Plenty's. Find the man by the animal cages sweeping. I'm not even going to try. Listen, okay. I have a little bit of familiarity with, Gaelic root words. I sorta kinda know a person who teaches some language. I don't even remember. It might just be called Gaelic. Some language that's not used anymore. And what I've learned is that although the vowels look like English vowels, none of them ever, not even the vowels, all the letters, they never ever make the sound you think they might make. He tears the envelope open and reads furiously. It's some moments before he can bring himself to speak. Oh, maybe it's Welsh. Maybe it's Welsh. I spoke Welsh only to my family. There was no harm. He shakes his head. But someone tattled and the auditors had to check, didn't they? The auditors even agreed. There was no harm. Not that anyone believed me. The auditors wouldn't visit unless you were in trouble, right? He grimaces. I couldn't stay in London, could I? I had to leave my family. I couldn't risk tainting them. He waves the card at you. I'll join your council. I'll meet the contact now. Huh. Is speaking Welsh a crime in London? The sort of crime that taints your family? That seems pretty wild. Well, it took us long enough to fly to London that this one's not quite so out of season. This card is for the obsolescent weaver, at a slum near the vast textile factory. Child returning from work gives you directions. Boy, that's a bummer. The weaver sits by the window, breathing through a soot-gray cloth. When you hand her the card, she peers at it to read the address, then fumbles it open. Finally, she speaks, while considering the factory opposite. Obsolescent is polite. Useless is what I am. Can't even patch up their uniforms. I'm nothing but a burden. Not that them here would admit it. Bunch of kind-hearted fools. The old weaver fetches an ancient carpet bag from the corner. Your council thinks I can be of use. Makes a bloody change. I owe it to my neighbors to try, anyway. I'll meet the contact now. Okay, well apparently I'm a very skilled recruiter. I guess that is in character, even though our character's not really doing anything here. So is it just now we go back and pick up the other card? Where is this entrance in my thing here? Yep. There's one card left. Who is it for? I guess we just go back and get it. Alright. Okay, I thought they had just given me the third card, but then I realized, the wording is a little ambiguous, and we didn't have any clickable options to pursue it any further, so I thought maybe I had just misread it. But no, in fact, they did give me the third card. Here it is in my hand. The revolutionaries in Winter's Reside gave you 3 cards. You've delivered the first 2. The third was in an unmarked envelope, and you can hardly play postman if you don't know where to deliver to. Inside the envelope is another envelope. A card, addressed to you. Alright, what have they to say? You are cordially invited to Corncrake House. There we battle injustice and would welcome your contribution. You, all of us, have been its victims. Society's law is unjust because natural law is unjust. Tyranny begins at the top. Not from the factory owner, not even from the palace of a queen, but in the arch of heaven itself. Those who join us should be prepared to defy the suns, and prepared to win, for our grievances are immeasurable. Okay, that's a crazy goal, and once again I would like to state, I think probably really bad for almost everybody. Anybody who's not willing to become like a monster from beyond this dimension. But let's at least go hear that sales pitch. I figured we'd swing by Caduceus before we head back to Pan, so that we could explore our new 3 Bohemian affiliation option. But we should spend this level up first, because I'm actually at 78 hearts. So right now, if we make the move to using the Stalwart Navigator as our first officer, we lose 6 points of hearts, and we will lose our ability to keep the Wrath of Heaven equipped. So let's take our level up. We'll take a level up that gives hearts, and that should give us enough room to keep everything on. So we need something that gives hearts primarily, preferably. You no longer be the person you were told to be. Your old life would have ground you beneath it. You had to change. But was the change slow or sudden? Well, this is vague. This is suitably vague. I'm comfortable taking this. Maybe our whole deal changed in an instant the moment we met the whoever it was that we fell in love with, and then, that kind of spiraled out into its own thing. In order to become what you needed to be, you abandoned your old life. I don't know. A lot of the character text is just not going to fit anymore. It's starting to be the case we have too few options. But now that we've done that, we can dock, and then change over to the Navigator. Okay. Now we can pursue something that Sister Patel was never able to do, I believe. First of all, let us investigate a mirror shard. Can't remember what these do. Okay, Vision of the Heavens. That's a fine piece of loot. Obviously, write a port report. And I did get us another moment of inspiration. Let's talk to the ebullient decadent first. A poet with a tangle of violent red hair is staring at you. "Captain," he calls. What does he want? "Captain," he beams at you. "You'll have heard of me or my poems, although perhaps you haven't. I get censored so." His eyes are wide and wild. "My muse is disapproved of. I came to Eleutheria to be inspired, and my God, I have been. I have written panegyrics." That's definitely a word I looked up before. Panegyrics, maybe? "To our dark star, odes to the maiden who presides here, but I cannot get published in London." He sniffs, frowns, and smiles once more. "Please, take my latest to my publisher. Storage is in London. It is better than my last, but they won't even read it. Pass it off as yours. Please, say you will." He pushes a sheaf of yellowing pages into your hand. "Thank you, I did not answer, but okay, I'll take this and maybe get rich off of it." "Seems fine to me." Okay. For those suitably attuned, the Thorn Maiden is willing to perform the rites of the rose. It is the great mystery at Caduceus's heart. The Thorn Maiden rises from her throne and strikes a single bell. Rosebinders advance on the throngs, passing out garlands of thorns. A rosebinder wearing a mask of thorns and petals passes you a garland. It fits about your neck easily, like a stole. It reeks, like a bottle of perfume left out in the sun. Your fellow visitors to Caduceus are approaching the throne, their arms outstretched, their eyes agleam. The Thorn Maiden turns away from the supplicants and faces the marble wall behind the throne. She raises her arms and lifts the crown from her head. The rest is lost in a crest of sudden sunlight that crashes over the temple like a golden wave. Okay, well that's where the sunlight comes from. That's very interesting. The roses bloom, soon they will fade. We have a limited amount of time here. Participate in the mystery of beholding. Wait until the roses have almost faded. Okay, I definitely want to do that. Well, do we examine the roses, or kiss one of the roses, or dream in the roses? Okay, dreaming in the roses seems quite difficult, because again, remember, we are at a very high level of hearts. So I'm actually pretty curious where this is going to lead, this being the hardest one. And apparently we won't find out. 3 rose binders lead you to a pile of soft cushions, blooming with white and black roses. They tie a scarlet blindfold daubed with honey over your eyes. You doze fitfully. The celebrant to your right, clearly overindulged, and reeks of stale sick and soured wine. The celebrant to your left snores like a drunk cantankery. It is intolerable. You rouse yourself, much to the disappointment of the rosebinders. Okay, do I get to try that again? Yeah, I'm assuming we're gonna get to do like 3 or 4 things here, probably. Let's give that another shot. Really? Well, that's bad luck. I mean, this is still not available. I'm gonna try it again. Partial success. Man, this is hard. 3 rose binders lead you to a pile of soft cushions blooming... Yeah, okay, that stuff. You drift away with your head filled with the slow, distant sound of drums. In your dream, you... the rose binders wander here in my dream. Let's talk to one of them. The nearest wears plate of polished brass beneath his robe. We were here once before. It has grown wild in our absence. He hands you secateurs. The horse must be broken if it will be ridden. Your hands are soon sticky with tears. Dewdrops from roses sweetening with rot. You have about half your time left before the roses fade entirely. Okay, that was a strange dream. I'm going to try that again, but this time we're going to get a total success. Hey, there we go. In your dream, you walk through a tangled garden of sunlit roses, where rosebinders walk the avenues, cutting this flower or that, depositing them into wheelbarrows. Occasionally, a rosebinder disappears, leaving their barrow behind. Hissing emerges from the bushes. When you wake, you can still hear the noise just behind your eyes. I wonder if that is going to be a little bit more meaningful to us sometime soon? Okay, what else? We could take a gift of the rose. Celebrants wander among the roses, naming and entreating them to offer up jewels held in the petals. We would definitely succeed. What are they glistening with? Because whatever it is, it's sticky, right? Our hands were sticky with their tears. I guess that happened in our dream, though. We don't know for sure that that's real. Let's find out. You carefully peel open a great azure rose, blooming on the head of a statue. A wash of perfume spills out, heady as Benedictine wine. Within, the rose is wet with dew and nectar. Its stigma weeps silver tears. They are saline to the taste, but smell of wild honey. Silver honey. The air is sickly sweet with decay. There's... I think we're going to get one more action here, if I've been counting based on when it said we were half done. We are unlikely to be able to cavort among the roses. That doesn't seem like it would be all that hard to do. Should we try it? Again, just because it's hard to do? Like maybe this is a valuable outcome? Yeah, let's give it a shot. The divine Elagabalus? Okay, just gonna tab over to Chrome here then. I'm sure that's a mythological figure with whom I am unfamiliar. Thank you, autocomplete. It's some Roman guy. This is just a huge amount of text right here. The second son of Sextus Varius Marcellus. Okay, it was the name of a Roman emperor and also a god? A Syro-Roman sun god. I assume we're talking about the god, since it says divine Elagabalus. Roses in a multitude of colors, blue, emerald, violet, and carnelian, open from the temple roof, showering celebrants with petals. The arboretum is in a riot of laughter and song. You sip dew wine, kiss lips sticky with it, sing along to the throbbing of the drums beneath your feet. Whenever you stumble, a rosebinder is at your side to right you and guide you back to the revel. It's very creepy. Okay, we have time for one last action. Let us participate in the mystery of beholding. A few celebrants have entered the Hall of the Fiddler. As you join the group, a rosebinder places their hands on your shoulders. They steer you through the rose-covered portico and into the little shrine. Here, copse of roses the size of church windows bloom. Some are saffron-hued, others crimson, others azure. Don't be afraid, the rosebinder at your ear says. Look inside. They have something to show you. Huh. So, on the saffron rose, we can make out a throne and a familiar silhouette upon it. On the crimson rose, we can make out lips as dark as cherries and thrice as sweet. The azure rose, we can hear a rushing of water, blue and endless. Something catches in your heart. And the white rose, we hear nothing within. Loss emanates from the pale flower. The petals shiver and open slightly, as though they want to be opened fully. So these each say they suggest a gift, but this says it suggests loss. That's very interesting to me. I'm not 100% sure why, even, what the pull is here, but I want to do this one. The flower unfurls to show you a vision of yourself alone. No crew, no engine. Just you and the mirror, facing each other. The mirror begins to devour you. Your reflection shivers as pieces of your flesh slicken and shiver the glass, running down the mirror in rivulets of blood. A rosebinder pulls you away. You have given something to the roses. Huh. The light fails, the roses sicken, wither, and are gone. Well, I think it's time to talk to the Thornbinder here. I'm very curious. The roses fade. The sunlight washes away, leaving only a memory of radiance. The rosebinders approach the debris of the roserite, armed with brooms and dustpans. Red masks bear down upon the temple. Yeah, janitorial duty. We'll just get out of the way here. The devils make light work of the sweet-smelling chaos of fallen petals, broken hedgerows, and shattered glass. Theirs is a practiced craftsmanship. Within minutes, the temple is as it was before the rites, as though the sunlight and roses never were. And who knows, maybe they weren't. Okay, I need to talk to the Thorn Maiden. You must not only participate in the rites, but learn some of their mysteries before I can ask her about them. That's weird. It's weird that we have to know stuff to ask her about the stuff. Well... Did we do this before? Did we observe the rosebinders at work? Yeah, we totally did. We could descend to the caverns. Now that we've been part of the roserite, maybe this will be a little bit more interesting. No, apparently not. Huh. Very strange. Well, I'll buy your explosives, you rogues. And then I guess from here to Pan. Yeah, there's something more that we could learn there. There's something else happening, and I want to figure it out. That is something that Citizen Shore will do before we are done here. But for now, to Pan, we have an invitation to accept. Alright, what do we want to take from this hermit this time? We could trade them supplies for a secret. We could give them all seven of our secrets for a Crimson Promise. We actually have a few Crimson Promises already, and you almost never need them. I'm just going to observe them. Get another mystery here. And also, just a ton of terror. Who doesn't love having a ton of terror? So at this point, we're running 30 iron, 60, just like a raw 69 veils. I have a ton of veils. I don't remember if there's a lot of ship equipment that requires 75 veils. I assume that if there is, it would be pretty good. I should probably figure out if any of it is stuff we'd actually want. Also, man, Pan is very far away. Well, you're sticking with me for the rest of this voyage. I'm done with editing for the day. It's actually not so bad. I will say that this series would have been a huge pain to do in the way that I have done it, if I hadn't found, I don't know if it's called Avi Demux or AVI Demux. Oh, that's definitely an Undeparted that I just heard. Well, this will be interesting. So for a little bit of behind-the-scenes type stuff that may not be interesting to anyone else... Nope, that's the wrong way. Why am I fighting this? This seems very dangerous, actually. Partially it's me just wanting to see if we can kill one of these things in a reasonable amount of time with our new weapon. Nope, don't you terror me. The Scribe Spinster is actually very inconvenient. I don't need anything dealing any extra damage to me. So it ran off this way. I'll get back to my other thought in a second here. I gotta actually make my hits, or yeah, make my shots connect here. Well, that'll be good enough. He's taking a bunch of damage now. Maybe it left? We have enough iron now to have this dye turn green. I think I'm... Yeah, let's go for the axes. Let's go for the bronzewood. Bronzewood's valuable. Okay, even when you fail that roll, it's pretty valuable. Let's just shine the light. Huh. Yeah, maybe it just buzzed off. Weird. Well, it's not a big deal. We have enough Eleutherian mysteries that I wouldn't mind spending a couple for healing. Oh hey, we have a lot of motivation to kill. Because these things are not super easy to find, in my experience. Ooh, I almost got us into trouble there. If I had not missed that shot, the explosion would have been way too close. That's a bad... Why did I dodge that way? Oh good, the Undeparted's back. Okay. Maybe we should run. Citizen Shore is going to get the, get this very fine locomotive handed down by so many people completely destroyed with idiocy, basically. Damn it. Curse you and your dodging. I really want to kill this thing, but I really don't want to keep fighting the Undeparted, so I think we're just going to bounce. Seems like they're maybe distracted by each other. Anyway, what I was saying is, maybe this is just I'm using the wrong software, or I was using the wrong software, because now I'm pretty sure I'm using the right stuff. I think we're still being chased by the Undeparted. I hear it in the dark. We're not really that close to the platform yet. It's possible if we get there, we'll be able to immediately full heal. But with the software that I used to use, or the software that I still use for complicated stuff, after I've done all the work of actually editing the thing together, re-rendering it takes like 100, at the quality I put it out, it takes like 150% of the length of the video. So obviously, and during video rendering, the computer is busy enough as to be effectively useless. You certainly can't do any more recording with it during that time. So putting together all the episodes of Sunless Skies that way would have been a huge pain. But I found this open source program called AviDemux that handles the problem much, much faster. Like, render times on the order of 2 minutes rather than 90. Okay, it is the hour of trumpets. I have no idea why, by the way, before anybody asks. I don't know anything about video encoding. I used to be a computer programmer, but there's a lot of fields of computer programming, and video encoding seems like one of the harder and mathier ones. Alright, the hour of trumpets when the Brazen Brigade hunt. Let's just stay indoors, everybody. We'll just chill out here. Alright, to Corncrake House. The Weaver is standing by the door to Corncrake House, fiddling with a handkerchief. She smiles with relief when she spots you. And they told me you'd not been through it either. She grasps your hand and gives it a squeeze. I can't imagine it's nice having your grievances extracted. My feelings get all tangled in my belly. She pats her stomach. Gives me all manner of indigestion. You think they'll go in through my throat? She winces. But it'll be all right, you know. I'm sure of it. You'll be fine. Is it really you? She's reassuring. No, obviously not. You have learned of the sacrifice, the next stage in drawing closer to the Calendar Council. So the idea is they take our grievances out and then use them as fuel for something, I'm guessing. Well, okay, we can now have our hull properly repaired, so let's definitely do that. That's a pretty good rate, actually. We can trade with the broker in the kitchen. We can trade our last unlicensed chart for a cryptic benefactor, which I think is a thing we are out of, actually. Possessions. Yeah, that would be establishment, right? And cryptic benefactors are useful. I think I would rather have one of those than the unlicensed chart. I think that's fair. She sits at the less flowery end of the vast table, writing numbers in an accounting ledger, occasionally moving to taste the stew bubbling on the stove. "One moment, please," the broker smiles as she goes to clean her hands. "Can't risk a stain." She unfurls the chart and holds it under a lamp. Satisfied, she rolls it and tucks it into her sleeve. Then she marks one column of a neat ledger, writes your name in another, then strikes through the entire row using a ruler. "I'll send word. You'll have the help when you need it." She returns to her cooking, of bread, stew, and books. Okay, well that's not exactly what we were looking for here. How do I do the thing I need to do? Do I need to do this from the street? Well, we should mingle with the revolutionaries, that's for sure. And then... what am I supposed to do here? Did I miss something? Because I thought I was told to report to Corncrake House. I'm not allowed to step into the conservatory because I have not become close enough to the revolutionaries. This maybe would help? The Liberation despises the Empyrean. So yeah, maybe we just need to curry more favor. Well, we could go get Empyrean nameplates. Could offer your grievances to Winter's Reside. If successful, this will allow access to the leader of the Calendar Council. Okay, we just need more mysteries. Well, I suppose I can acquire those, but I think we are, unfortunately, out of time for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Come back next time, tomorrow, when I swear to you we will finally get in with these people, and then we can move our ambition forward again. And we'll see you then.